Head Harvester Bill Arm from the West Coast.
And Head Harvester Ed LaFlamme from the East Coast.
Our topic is getting to the right gross margin. We're pretty passionate about this because it's important. Yeah. It's right at the centerpiece of your whole financial statement. It's the furnace that keeps the financials nice and warm, the whole company, right?
Well, if you're not making money on the job, you can't make money.
Very hard.
Yeah.
So there's 5 steps. We've been talking about this. And today we're going to talk about, we've reviewed in the past, step 1, HAWS. Second one is we're going to do estimating. Step 3, we're going to do the pricing. Step 4 is execution. And this is the grand finale, the 5th part, renewals. So Ed, take it away.
Yeah. So one of the challenging pieces we have, even today especially, is to get to the right gross margin, we're going to have to raise the price. Because the materials are increasing and your labor is increasing constantly now as the months go by. So when it comes for a renewal, we have to raise the price to get the gross margin. Because if you're doing a study and you're doing job costing, you're going to know that your gross margin on a year contract is sliding down throughout the year.
Yeah, so listen. So if your costs are going up and if you don't get an increase, you got a problem.
Yeah.
The options are you got to get more efficient.
Yes.
Or change the scope of work.
Yes.
That's about the only way to get out because the costs have gone up so high.
Yep.
So
that's right.
It's pretty scary out there to get an increase, isn't it?
Well, a lot of contractors are afraid to. They think they're going to lose the work or they're going to go out to bid and all this. But you know what? This is the best time ever to raise your price. And I've got contractors that I work with. They're raising their price as high as 20% on a maintenance contract. And yeah, they threaten and do a lot of things, but guess what? 99% they just renew it. Yeah. As long as they can defend it, they have to explain why. And a lot of contractors, what they're doing is going in and showing them the numbers.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So here's some renewal basics. First, when you start thinking about doing the renewal, you wait till the last minute, then oh my gosh, run over there and do that. No. What you do, you start thinking of the renewal the very first day you're on it.
Yeah.
How does it go? Has the scope of work changed a little bit? Are you under or over on your estimate, like that? But start thinking about the renewal the first day you're on that job. That's tip number 1.
Yeah. And the second thing is make sure your customer's happy. It's difficult to ask a renewal or an increase if they're not happy, right? Yeah. So you have to make sure the performance on the job is solid and the relationship is solid. That's really important. And again, like Bill just said, that starts from day 1 when you get the contract.
Yeah, you've had probably some employees that say, well, pay me more and I'll work harder and do a better job. No, not a good strategy. So you have to perform first and make them happy. Have a big smiley face on that customer. You have a much better odds. And the relationship's very critical, right?
Yep.
Be certain you're tracking your costs. You got to track your costs accurately.
Do job costing, yes.
Because sometimes people are doing it manually now. They're just putting the hours that are told to put budget on. They put is budget 4 hours. They put 4 hours. It's not accurate. Maybe it takes 6 hours, 8 hours. But make sure you're tracking your costs accurately.
Good point. Also, it's really important to understand when your customers' budgets start and stop. Okay. Because a lot of them are not on a calendar year. A lot of them on a real estate year. It could be the beginning of July or end of July. Was that true with you?
Yeah, there's some there.
Yeah.
Most of them are calendar year.
Yeah.
But then you don't want to just wait till the end of the calendar year.
Too late.
You got to know when they're doing their budgets. And usually August is preliminary, maybe September, October. Now they're final budget
right
around November.
Yeah.
So, and the next thing would be know their process. Who's the steps? Who's the authority? Does it have to go to a board of directors? Do you have to have a quorum involved? You want to make sure you have advocates in there, making sure that they're happy. So know their process for the renewal process.
Good point. Of course, too, you want to see, is their business solid? Make sure they're not going out of business. Some companies right now are shaky. They really are. Even some big hotel chains and restaurants are all very shaky. They're just coming out of COVID. So you have to make sure you know who you're doing business with.
Yeah, and we'd like to review it verbally first. Don't just send an email or a letter out to them and just hope and pray they take it, right? Review it with them a little bit and get a feel for what they're thinking about and get their budget.
Yes.
So do that verbally and do it informally. Don't have to be real formal.
Yep.
So what's the final tip we have here?
I would say make sure that you really explain with some really good examples of what it's going to take or what it should be to get the price to where you want it to be. Yeah. So I have clients right now that have gone 6 months before the renewals okay? And they said, this is where we are. This is how many hours we're expending. This is what our gross margins are. This is what we need to do. This is the material increases. This is the fuel increases a year ago till now. And they try to give them a real solid idea of what's going on with the contract. And they just basically say, we can't continue to do your job at this price. We can't. We're going to have to withdraw, or you're going to have to allow us to increase X amount. So they warm them up to it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was surprised because one contractor said that he was very well received in that meeting. And they didn't get pushback, they got understanding because they took the initiative to be proactive and explained it to them in detail what was happening.
Yeah, you might also want to remind them some of the pain points that you solved during that year.
Oh, that
Right,
doesn't
they had
hurt.
some pain, you solve the pain, you have a plan moving forward, so you become integral part of their plan,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And it's
Good
just
point.
it's just important that you, one of the big explanations I would say is, hey, in order for us to keep the quality of people on board, they're getting raises. And so if we have turnover, it makes it difficult for everybody. So we want to keep, retain, and recruit the best people out there. So we have to pay competitive wages out there. And that's our biggest cost, Harvester
Yeah,
Ed.
it really is. Yeah.
So
very
good stuff. Getting you the right gross margin.
Yep.
That's the renewals. Now you scaredy cats, you got some good points there. You can go out there and you can look at our Harvest Way Academy on how to get the right renewal. And you click down below, you can learn all about how to get the right renewal. Right?
Because if they don't, what's going to happen?
They're toast.
Yeah, they are. That's right.
And
And you had some really good examples of companies that didn't raise their rates
Yeah.
and they almost went out of business.
Several.
Yeah.
Head Harvester Bill Arnold for the West Coast.
And head harvester Ed LaFlamme from the East Coast.
Now go out there and harvest your potential with getting the right renewals.